Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a really close look at the 2025 WSI AI Business Insights Report. Our mission for you, our listener, is simple. We want to pull out the most important insights from this global survey and, crucially, interpret them specifically for a community banker. What does all this AI adoption talk really mean for your institution?
Yeah, it's a fascinating report. Over 600 business leaders chimed in, and get this, over 90% are from small and medium-sized businesses. So very much like many community banks, it gives us a really grounded sort of global snapshot of how AI is actually being used, and maybe where it's not quite hitting the mark yet.
Exactly. And, while confidence in AI seems to be going up, the report makes one thing pretty clear. A lot of these smaller and mid-sized businesses are still scratching their heads about how to turn that confidence into real action. So let's unpack this. We want to give you a shortcut to clarity, show you where businesses are gaining traction, where they're getting a bit stuck, and maybe what practical next steps you could consider. Okay, so let's start with the first big headline from the report. It's quite striking. AI confidence is rising, but execution and budgets haven't caught up.
We're seeing 81% of people surveyed believing AI can help achieve business goals. That's up quite a bit from 72% last year. A lot of belief there.
It really is a big jump. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it suggests, bankers might feel positive about AI, maybe even excited, but that feeling isn't always translating into, dedicated action or budget. Only about 27% of businesses say AI is a frequent topic in formal company meetings. And you still have 35% saying, we just don't have the time to really evaluate the pros and cons.
Right.
So the big question becomes, how do community banks bridge that gap? How do you move from knowing AI is important to actually doing something about it?
That is the key question. What does the report suggest there? How do you bridge that gap? Well, it emphasizes making AI a regular part of strategic planning, not just a side conversation. And starting small. You don't need a massive budget right away, maybe just enough for some pilot projects. It also highlights getting expert guidance. Someone like a WSI consultant could help speed up that evaluation, figure out where to start.
Okay, that makes sense. Start small, make it strategic. Now, related to this is the second takeaway. Familiarity with AI is growing fast, but formal training still lags behind. The numbers show 59% of business professionals are now very or moderately familiar with AI. That's a huge jump from just 38% in 2024. People are definitely learning more.
They are, but here's the kicker. Despite that familiarity going up, a whopping 52% of those who say they're familiar with AI, they haven't actually had any formal training. None.
Wow, really?
Over half.
Yeah. And for community banks where everything hinges on precision, compliance, security, just relying on self-learning, maybe picking things up here and there, that could create some real knowledge gaps or inconsistencies.
I could see that being a risk, definitely. So the report suggests, developing more structured learning, maybe implement programs where people learn by actually doing specific tasks with AI, ensuring everyone's on the same page.
Okay, so formalizing the learning is key. Let's move on to something I think is particularly relevant for our listeners, where AI is actually showing up within the bank, or maybe where it isn't. The report calls this, AI is expanding beyond leadership, but silos are slowing real progress. So yeah, management and marketing seem to be leading the charge. Sales, IT, operations are growing too, which is encouraging. But adoption is still pretty limited in some really critical areas for a bank.
And this is where you, listening, should really think, where does my bank fit in this picture? Because the report specifically calls out finance and accounting departments. Adoption rates there still really low, just 9%.
Only 9%. That's surprisingly low for such a data-intensive area.
It is.
And here's where it gets really interesting, especially for banks. The report acknowledges why. It says, basically, that security, compliance, accuracy standards, they make AI adoption tough in finance and accounting. You need high-precision tools, ironclad data governance, non-negotiables, right?
Absolutely. Essential in banking.
But then it immediately adds that AI automation for things like forecasting or reconciliation, it is starting to prove its value. It's yielding real-time and cost savings.
So there's this tension. The potential is there, but the hurdles are high. And the bigger issue connecting this back is these AI silos. If marketing is using AI but accounting isn't, you're not getting that seamless end-to-end benefit across the whole bank.
Right. Improvements get stuck in one department.
Exactly. So the report suggests things like creating cross-functional AI teams, maybe developing value propositions specific to each department, and perhaps starting with simpler, less risky applications in accounting just to demonstrate the value and build some confidence.
That makes sense. Baby steps in sensitive areas. Now, looking beyond just departments, the Breakthrough Insights section shows AI adoption really varies by industry, too. Real estate, e-commerce, legal services, they seem to be further ahead in fully deploying AI.
Yeah, and what's interesting for our audience is the finance and insurance industry. It was a decent chunk of the survey, about 7.7%, but it also pops up in the section about AI reshaping jobs. It seems there's more uncertainty there. 35% in finance and insurance expect significant workforce changes due to AI.
More uncertainty than other sectors.
It suggests maybe a more cautious approach overall, or perhaps just unclear expectations about AI's impact on jobs within finance. It's definitely a signal that workforce planning needs to happen alongside any AI strategy. You can't do one without the other.
That's a really crucial point. And another big theme the report hits hard is that AI isn't something you should try to do entirely on your own. AI isn't a solo sport. External partners are key to moving faster and smarter. That's the takeaway.
Right. The data shows organizations that are actually succeeding with AI, they're 2.5 times more likely to be using a hybrid approach, combining their own internal efforts with strategic external support.
So building internal skills and bringing in outside help.
Exactly. It helps bridge those gaps, especially when internal teams are stretched thin on time or lack, really specialized AI skills. That sounds like a common scenario for many community banks.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've seen the landscape. Rising confidence, execution gaps, training issues, departmental silos, the need for partners. What does this all boil down to in terms of action for a community banker who wants to move forward? The report lays out 4 practical steps.
It does. First one, make AI a core business conversation, not a side experiment. We saw only 27% discuss it frequently in strategic sessions. That needs to change. Embed AI into regular planning. Assign clear ownership.
Make it someone's job, essentially.
Pretty much. And the report mentions how external partners, like WSI consultants, can help here. They can act as catalysts, help define those practical use cases. And crucially, connect AI projects directly to business outcomes, like improving customer satisfaction scores or reducing operational costs, things banks measure constantly.
Right, tying it to the bottom line. Makes sense. What's step 2?
Step 2 is build targeted AI fluency that meets people where they are. Forget generic one-size-fits-all training. The report really pushes for role-based learning, focused workshop.
So AI training specifically for loan officers or tellers or the back office team.
Exactly. Imagine training your loan officers on how AI might help with initial credit checks, maybe flag missing info faster, or how tellers could use AI tools for quicker customer query resolution.
Okay.
The report mentions resources like WSI's AI adoption roadmap, which can help banks identify those high-value opportunities and then build a clear plan to get there.
But what about that time barrier we keep hearing about? How do you get busy staff to actually engage with this training?
That's a fair question. The report suggests the key is making it relevant immediately. Good training should bring AI into the flow of their actual work. It shouldn't feel like a separate chore, but a tool that helps them right now. Integration, not interruption.
Got it. Okay, step 3.
Step 3. Expand adoption across all departments, not just the usual champions. We talked about those silos, especially in finance and accounting, lagging behind.
Right, that 9% adoption figure.
So the idea is to find those right fit use cases to get started in those low adoption departments, build some momentum.
What would a right fit use case look like in, say, accounting for a community bank? What's a safe starting point?
Good question. The report gives the example of introducing simple automation. So for a community bank, maybe using AI for automating reconciliation tasks, or doing that initial check on loan applications. Does it have all the required pieces? These aren't, revolutionary AI applications, but they can save time, reduce errors, demonstrate value quickly, and start building that internal trust in the tech.
Okay, practical first steps.
Yeah.
And the final action step.
The last one is crucial. Stop viewing AI as an extra task. Start treating it as a business lever. Remember, the top barrier cited wasn't cost or technology. It was time.
Right. People see it as another thing to add to the to-do list.
Exactly. Many businesses still think AI means needing more people or more hours. The shift in thinking needs to happen. For community banks, it means reframing AI. It's not an added burden. It's a tool to make existing operations better, more efficient, maybe even unlock new ways to serve customers or generate revenue.
So it's about optimization, not just adding more work.
Precisely. And the report hammers this home. Align AI projects with your existing KPIs, your key performance indicators. Use those metrics to justify even a modest budget and clearly show the value AI is bringing. It's not about spending more, it's about spending smarter.
That's a powerful reframe. Spend smarter, not necessarily more. So let's wrap this up. Thinking about everything we've discussed from the WSI AI Business Insight Survey, what's the core message for you, our listener?
Well, it's clear that confidence in AI is growing among businesses similar to community banks. That's the good news. But the report also shines a light on the gaps. Execution, formal training, getting AI adopted consistently across all departments, especially critical ones like finance, these are still big hurdles.
Right. The potential is there, but realizing it takes deliberate effort.
Exactly. And that leads to the crucial question for community bankers. Are you just sort of exploring AI around the edges? Or are you actively building the foundation for a strategic bank-wide approach? Because the report is pretty clear. The businesses that really figure out how to unlock AI's potential are the ones that will gain a real competitive edge.
And the report does point toward help being available.
It does. It mentions WSI's own resources, like a detailed prompt mastery ebook or an AI readiness assessment tool to help you figure out where your strategy might have gaps. And it highlights that WSI, with their, 30 years in digital marketing and this global network of consultants, they focus on helping businesses align AI with goals, train teams effectively, and build real momentum. Especially for community banks, the message is clear. WSI understands the industry, and they invite you to reach out. Eric and his team are ready to talk about how AI can specifically benefit your bank.
They provide contact info too, right?
Yep, contact@wsiworld.com, or you can visit their AI Insights page, wsiworld.com/learn artificial intelligence. We can put that in the notes.
Perfect. Okay, so for our final provocative thought for you, the listener, think about this. Customer expectations are constantly rising. They want speed, personalization. Meanwhile, early AI adopters are already making their operations smoother, faster, more insightful. So if you knew, maybe not a tsunami, but a significant wave of efficiency and capability powered by AI was coming towards your competitive landscape, would you just wait and see? Or would you start figuring out how to guide that wave for your bank now? What will you do with this knowledge to make sure your community bank isn't just surviving, but actually thriving in this increasingly AI-driven future?